Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Foreclosure Help 777, where we talk about everything foreclosure related. Thank you for joining my YouTube channel. If you have subscribed, I really appreciate it. Today we're going to talk about the non-judicial foreclosure process. Last time we talked about the judicial foreclosure process, but let's be fair. Let's talk about the process of non-judicial foreclosure, the stages, and get started here. This is the map that I showed you all last time that talks about the different states. And as you can see, the red states are judicial foreclosure, and the white states or the gray states are non-judicial foreclosure. And you got to wonder why this is to begin with. I think, honestly, all states should be one way or the other, and this makes it difficult. But if you're in a non-judicial foreclosure state, then you're in some state like California, Texas, Washington, Oregon, Nevada, Utah, Colorado, Montana, Idaho, Wyoming, Nebraska, Minnesota, Missouri, Arkansas, of course Texas, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, North Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia, and up here you have New Hampshire and Massachusetts and Rhode Island. And it's a different process than a judicial foreclosure. So let's go over what it's like. Okay, so the foreclosure life cycle in a non-judicial state. Stage 1, default or pre-foreclosure. What happens is the borrower misses payments. The loan goes into default under the note. The servicer begins internal collection activity. Key points: no court involvement, no judge, entirely private at this stage. The opportunity window: requests for information, payment history disputes, and early authority challenges. Stage 2 is a notice of default. What happens? Trustee records a notice of default. The borrower is formally notified. Statutory cure period begins. And the key points on here is this is the triggering legal act. They must comply with the statutes, often recorded before authority is proven. The opportunity window for this: defective notice, wrong party issued the notice of default, chain of title problems. Stage 3, reinstatement or cure period. What happens? The borrower has a statutory right to reinstate. Arrears plus fees are demanded. Loss mitigation often overlaps here, and the key points here are: reinstatement is a statutory right. Figures are often inflated or incorrect. Dual tracking violations are common. Stage 4, notice of trustee sale. What happens? Trustee records and posts the sale notice. Sale date, time, and location is announced. The key points here is this replaces a court judgment. Strict timing rules apply. Defects here can invalidate the sale. Opportunity window: injunctions, TROs, authority challenges before the sale. Stage 5, trustee sale foreclosure auction. What happens? Property is sold at public auction. The beneficiary often does the credit bid. The trustee declares a winner. Key points: no judge supervises this. Sale can occur in minutes. Errors are common and rarely checked. Stage 6, the trustee's deed upon sale. What happens? The trustee records the deed. Title transfers to the purchaser. The key points here is ownership changes here. The sale may still be voidable. This still does not give possession. Ownership does not equal possession, which is the same rule as judicial. Stage 7, post-sale notice to vacate or demand for possession. What happens? The new owner demands occupant leave. Short deadlines, often 3 to 10 days. Key points: not a court order, designed to scare people out. Many occupants they leave here unnecessarily. Stage 8, eviction unlawful detainer action, which is the first court step. What happens? Purchaser files an eviction case. often in lower or limited jurisdiction or JP court. Key points. Eviction court cannot decide title. Authority defects can defeat eviction. This is where non-judicial cases finally meet a judge. Stage 9, judgment for possession. What happens? The court awards possession to the purchaser, a short vacate deadline set. Key points, still not forced removal. Stay and appeals may apply. Federal and state tenants protections may apply. Stage 10, writ of possession or writ of execution. What happens? The court issues a writ, authorizes the sheriff or constable to act. Key points, this is the first lawful use of force. Without a writ, removal is illegal. Stage 11, sheriff lockout, physical eviction, endpoint. What happens? Sheriff executes the writ. Occupants are physically removed. Locks are changed, possession transferred. This is the first moment when the occupant must leave the property. Maximum time impact, years. Okay, let's talk about quiet title action and how it adds time to all of this. What it does, it directly challenges the ownership. It forces court determination of title, converts a private foreclosure into a prolonged litigation. Why it's powerful? Title insurers hate unresolved quiet title claims. Purchasers can't safely sell or finance. Banks lose leverage post-sale. It also adds 1 to 5 years, sometimes more. Quiet title attacks the end result, not just the process. Lis pendens, notice of pending action. What it does, it publicly clouds the title. Attaches to the property, not the person. Follows the property through the sale. Why it terrifies banks. Makes property effectively unmarketable. Survives trustee's sale in many cases. Forces settlement for prolonged litigation. Adds, as long as the lawsuit is pending, a lis pendens is not a delay tactic. It is a title weapon. So quiet title plus lis pendens is the combined effect you want to do. Together they chill bidding at trustee sales, undermine post-sale eviction leverage, force judicial resolution banks tried to avoid. Realistic impact is multiple years. Let's look at the foreclosure life cycle comparison chart here. As you can see, there's 3 columns: the stage, in a judicial foreclosure, a non-judicial foreclosure. So for instance, the default stage. In a judicial foreclosure, the missed payments trigger default under the note. In a non-judicial foreclosure, it's the same. Early notice stage. Notice of intent acceleration letter. In a non-judicial foreclosure, it's notice of default recorded. The stage where who starts the case? In a judicial foreclosure, the plaintiff files a lawsuit in court. In a non-judicial foreclosure, the trustee records notices because there's no court. The burden of proof stage. The judicial foreclosure on the plaintiff from day one. Non-judicial foreclosure on homeowner only if they sue. In other words, if you do a quiet title action, the homeowner bears the burden of proof. And then the stage where the borrower's first deadline. Judicial foreclosure. Deadline to answer the complaint. In a non-judicial foreclosure, deadline to cure or enjoin the sale. The discovery phase. Okay, in a judicial foreclosure, full civil discovery is available. In a non-judicial foreclosure, discovery is none unless the borrower files suit and their complaint survives a motion to dismiss, which then moves on to discovery. Judge involved. In a judicial foreclosure, immediately. In a non-judicial foreclosure, only if borrower sues or at eviction. But you don't want to wait till eviction, guys. Authority tested. Standing must exist at filing in a judicial state. In non-judicial, it's often never tested before the sale. Dispositive event. In a judicial state, it's summary judgment or trial. In a non-judicial, it's a trustee sale. And the stage where a sale occurs, it only happens in a judicial state after the court judgment, and a non-judicial state before any court involvement. The deed issued. For a judicial state, it's a sheriff commissioner's deed. For a non-judicial, it's a trustee's deed upon sale. Now the stage where a possession is obtained. Judicial state, a separate eviction action. In a non-judicial state, separate eviction action. Writ issued. In a judicial state, writ of possession or execution. Same thing with non-judicial. Writ of possession, execution. Forced removal. Judicial states, it's a sheriff lockout. For both of them, sheriff lockout. Okay guys, I hope this information was helpful. Whether you're in a judicial or non-judicial foreclosure, it's always best to fight it. It will help you stay in your home longer. And it depends, again, on your situation. Everybody's situation is different. And so you can't say, well, this will work for everyone, because that's not true. Everyone's situation is different. And so I'm not an attorney, and you guys should seek legal advice from an attorney if you're in this situation. And if you do have questions, you can send me an email to foreclosurehelp777@gmail.com or leave a comment below. And as always, everyone have a blessed day.